Here, dealing with Tasteful Tides. Tim, the 3-entry specialist, the single-entry max specialist, cash game specialist, talking about a 6-game slate. Of course, the Chicago, the White Sox and Toronto, I believe it is. They're playing baseball, but not really. Not on this slate. They don't count if you're rostering them. I don't think you can even roster them on FanDuel, but on TK, the names are there, but certainly cross them out. Do not play those guys. They're playing the back half of the doubleheader, and their points will not count. It is a kind of a baby slate, so plenty of time to talk through this slate. We're here for an hour and 10 minutes till we yield to crunch time. I believe y'all get TJ Zwarych, and I presume that means Spidey's going to be along for the ride as well. Andre and Kevin Roth, they're going to need Roth today. We always need Roth, but we especially need Roth today because the most popular pitcher, we're looking at Tanner Bybee, most popular pitcher by default, I suppose. He's facing Kansas City. They're horrendous. The pitching on the slate is pretty ugly as well. We're looking at an orange-yellow. Tasteful Tides, Tim, welcome to the show. Get comfortable, an hour and 10 minutes. We're kind of in a holding pattern here as far as Cleveland. Tanner Bybee is the most popular pitcher on this slate. Orange-yellow, I'll go ahead and drop this in chat for the people. What's up, chat? Kindly hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on those notifications. Do all those things. We much appreciate that. Tim, how are things? Did you play the early slate? I think you were on the early show. So you probably dabbled in those streets. How were things going in the early slate?
No, I didn't do very well.
Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I was pretty high on the Tigers too, but I didn't do very well. Not a winning early slate. I'm hoping to get it back on this main slate. Early slate was bad for me.
Detroit All-Star Michael Lorenzen. He went five straight, 5 clean. Clean sheet there, beating the Athletics. I guess Cincinnati, Washington was probably kind of somewhat disappointing, I assume. I did not do any content for that. I did not play it, but top of the dome, I assume that game was probably the most popular with Milwaukee. I guess that game is over. Milwaukee beat Chicago 6-5. Top of the 8th, Votto's up. I don't know why I'm doing play-by-play, but Votto's up with a man on third, and since he's down 1, top of the 8th. But the great thing about DFS, it's a clean slate now, right? Back to 0. We got 0 as far as, starting all over again. We get to chase the losses and double down. How do we feel about the slate tonight? I actually feel really good about it, Tim. It's strange. Sometimes I come to these shows and I'm not really sure exactly where I'm going to go. I feel really good, at least on one thing. And I'm curious. I want to pick your brain. And it's not pitching. Spoiler alert. I don't feel really good about pitching. So I want to see where you're at as far as pitchers and see if you have any angles that you want to throw my way. But I think we're all kind of in the same boat on pitching. It's pretty rough waters out there, especially on DK. We got a roster 2 of them, and the potential wrench is the weather in Cleveland, where Bybee is the most popular pitcher. Your thoughts as far as the slate? Give me the overview. Give me the screenshot.
Yeah, the Bybee stuff is absolutely gigantic. It doesn't matter what format that you're playing in. Doesn't really matter what site you're playing in, because he's going to be the overwhelming chalk. And that little, I mean, that's not like the most detailed forecast. Hopefully we get something a little bit more detailed, but that sounds really sketchy because it could fire in game. The batch of storms could fire in game. Like that's never the words that you want to hear when you want to roster a pitcher in cash games or in GPPs. So that's definitely the most important news. He is
also not to cut you off, but it's a rookie, right? Some veterans will at an hour and a half delay, maybe 2 hours, they'll go back out there, right? So if you're a vet, you got to get the job done. I feel like Bybee's the kind of guy that probably wouldn't push it if it's like a teetering on maybe not. And that's just my guess, right? And Cleveland, yep. I don't think they would push him. I don't think so, but just a thought.
I would have to agree with that thought. I'm glad that you brought that up. I wouldn't have even thought about saying that. But yeah, it's a rookie. They're probably not going to push him very hard if he does have to come out of the game. So that's just huge stuff. 44% I think owned on DraftKings right now, 31% on FanDuel. So that's really important news.
Cut you off again. Eric in chat says, I'm not worried about that. Roth has it straight yellow. And I'm like, no, he doesn't. And, I hit the refresh button, and yes, he does. Roth just updated it in real time. We're down to straight yellow there, lowering the risk in Cleveland as the main round of rain looks to be clear before first pitch. And I'm not sure the second batch ever ends up over the ballpark. I'll leave it at yellow for a chance of delay, but my current lean is that we avoid even that. So that seems really positive from a pitching perspective there in Cleveland. For what it's worth, we also have a yellow-green in Boston. That's not terribly concerning, but maybe a pop-up we'll see. Hitting weather is good in Boston as well. By the way, Tim, the greatest DFS player in all of Maine? Sure, why not? Let's say that. They're talking about it. Mr. Richard in chat. What's up, Mr. Richard? It's a bit hot and humid today in Maine. Well, I guess Mr. Richard's in Maine as well. And then Peter says, never heard of Maine in my life. Never heard of it.
You made me shut off my AC, Dean.
I did not make you. No, I
feel like you kind of did. So just remember that as I sit here. Dean, it rained about 30 days straight in June, and then it rained the first 4 days of July, and then the last 2 days it's been like 85, 90 degrees. So I've been freezing cold for the entire summer, and now it's like swelteringly hot, and I can't have my AC on because the sound's not good enough for Dean. So I just want everyone to know that I have to sit here and just die of heat exhaustion.
A couple things. First of all, you said it rained 30 days straight in June. You could have just said it rained every day in June. You could have done that.
Yeah,
too.
I could have said that.
Secondly, are you broadcasting right in front of the air conditioner? Is the AC just right next to you? Like, why is it so loud?
It's not right next to me. It's
okay.
Kind of close. Doesn't matter, Dean. Doesn't matter. I've moved on. I'm just going to sit here and be hot. That's just how it's going to have to be.
Yeah, well, producer Steve, when I jumped in the room, taking people behind the curtain, you guys were already having the conversation about the AC, and I wasn't aware of anything. And you just said, or Steve said, "Hey, do you hear anything?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I hear something." And then all of a sudden, I guess that was enough to put it over the edge. How about a fan, maybe a ceiling fan, or just like a handheld fan of some sort? I guess you wouldn't hold it. They stand on their own.
You want me to sit here? You want me to sit here and hold a fan while I do a show, Dean? Is that really what you want me to do?
I don't know. You probably don't have one on the ready. Maybe you can order one on Amazon and have it like good to go for tomorrow's show. I don't know, but that's tomorrow's problem. And today you're just gonna have to sweat.
Yep.
Can you deal with the elements? Is the question. Can you still give analysis?
I'm going to try. Luckily, I have plenty of water. I've got plenty of hydration, so it should be good.
There you go. By the way, apparently, speaking of, we mentioned producer Steve. Shout out to producer Rob. Is apparently he was tweeting out. He's living his best life. He had some Hattie B's out there in Vegas, and he's like in the top 20 or so in chips. And I'm not sure if he's in the main. According to B Shot, Coakley's got over 200,000 in the WSOP right now. So I think that's the main event.
It is the main event. Yeah, pretty sure.
It's early, but that's pretty spectacular. Good for him. Hopefully he makes a run. That'll be pretty fun. But the deeper he goes, the more producer Steve probably has to work, and producer Devin has to work. They have to cover him. But I would imagine they would figure that out at some point. But is Steve secretly rooting against Rob? Is that what's going on here? Maybe, possibly. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. All right. What else is going on in chat? Anything else of note before we fully dive in as far as the slate? Kirkwood's hanging out. He says he's exhausted. He's got that kid. He thought that the kid was going to be just like basically tending to a dog, but they didn't give him the proper heads up that the kid is a little more high maintenance, I suppose. Do join the conversation in chat. Plenty of time, an hour again till we hand it off to crunch time. We will talk about this slate backwards and forwards. Here's the thing. Now we feel pretty good about the weather. Roth gave us the go-ahead in Cleveland. The second part of that kind of sort of somewhat is Tanner Bybee even like good? Like he's okay. He's fine. He's like the best option, I suppose. But, all things considered, when you consider matchup and his abilities, is that good chalk? Tanner Bybee, Tim?
I really honestly would not know where else to go. In terms of, I mean, you can go other ways in terms of who you want to play in tournaments tonight, but I really don't know who else I would say is better on this slate. I mean, this slate is void of any kind of talent. I would say probably Eovaldi might be the best quote unquote pitcher, or Julio
Kirby.
Urias, but it's not really Eovaldi is very, very expensive. Urias has pitch count concerns, so not really guys that I feel that confident in. George Kirby, I think is fine. Going into Houston, again, not the best matchup. So when you consider price and matchup, I think Bobby is the clear SB1 on both FanDuel and DraftKings. Talent wise, yeah, there can be discussion about maybe who is better in a vacuum, but we don't play DFS in a vacuum. We have to consider salary, we have to consider matchup. So Bobby's the guy for me.
Yeah, so I'm pulling up what I wrote up in the expert survey today as far as the official stats, if I can get to there in a second. Tanner Bybee. Well, it's also about Kansas City, right? The current iteration of the Kansas City lineup, they strike out 25.1% against right-handers. That's a big exorbitant number. We can pull up PlayIQ and see specifically as far as the lineup that's getting rolled out today. But, WRC plus 29th, WOBA 27th. They don't walk. They're 28th as far as taking walks. They're 23rd as far as ISO, not a lot of power. Bybee, like 24.4% Ks, which is fine, not spectacular. ERA, we don't talk a lot of ERA, but 3.46, which is fine. A little bit lucky, right? The Sierra says 4.17 as far as the Sierra. And I think he's going to be better than he probably is today. Like he's they're still kind of figuring stuff out. He's not a finished product, but this Kansas City lineup is pretty horrendous. We saw Kenta Maeda shut him down. We saw Lopez drop the CGSO 12 strikeouts, I believe, against them yesterday. This team, Kansas City, is looking forward to the All-Star break. It seems like more so than most teams. They've already kind of checked out. It's not good. It's not a good team. 42% is the current ownership on DK. Bradish is number 2, which is kind of interesting, but he's cheap enough, and he's pretty good in this Yankee lineup. Obviously, it's not spectacular. It's also without Stanton, which is sort of that push-pull. Like, you kind of want Stanton in there because he's going to strike out 3 times, but you kind of don't because he can hit 2 homers. But that's just how that goes.
I love Bradish. I love Bradish tonight.
Okay, I like him too. And you think that's correct? You think he's going to be the SP2? Like, if you're playing cash games, you probably are. Is it Bybee and Bradish on DK? It probably is, right?
Yeah, it definitely is. And I even like him at a $700 discount for larger field GPPs on FanDuel. So 8,500 for Bradish, I think is completely fine if you want to get away from Bybee. Maybe not a play that I want to. If he's going to be 15% owned on FanDuel, you don't have to commit a lot of your portfolio to even be level with the field. So I like Bradish quite a bit. So he's definitely my SP2 tonight. I think that, like you said, it is a push-pull with Stanton out of the lineup. I think he can get through this lineup. So I have a lot of faith in him at 7,200 on DraftKings. Like that price seems just ridiculously low.
Pulling up the plate IQ, it is kind of a contact-heavy lineup, I suppose. Volpe is leading off, which is good to see. Like speed, but certainly strikes out a ton, 30% right out the gate. Torres is only 12%, Bader 13%, IKF and Trevino at the bottom 15 and 15 respectively. Collectively only 20.4% as far as the strikeouts, but the power is not spectacular. McKinney, if you buy into that small sample size number. Donaldson, I guess there's still some power in that bat, but not what he once was, obviously. The absence of Judge, of course, the absence of Stanton. Rizzo, another guy, not what he once was, still a little bit of power in that bat. Let's take a peek at the Kansas City lineup specifically. We talk about them in general, but the lineup is bad, of course. Garcia is leading off. Is that a little different than what they've normally been doing? I feel like it might be. Garcia, Witt, Perez, Prado. He's led off several times. Olivares, Melendez, Waters, Blanco, and Lopez. Even Lopez is striking out 17% this year. I feel like he was like a 5 or 10%er not too far.
Garcia's been leading off, I think, quite a bit in the last week.
Okay. Yeah. Unsuccessfully though, right? I think.
I don't know. He's had a couple good games actually. I get what you're saying though. It's certainly not something. I'm not saying play him or anything, but he's had a couple good games.
So we like this lineup for Bybee. Is this kind of what we're getting at here?
I definitely do. I mean, the Royals just don't. I mean, they've got Witt and they've got Sal. I mean, MJ Melendez is okay, but the bottom of this lineup is so bad. I don't see any reason to get fancy with SP1.
The chat's talking about they're excited to talk about the reach around stacks. Arizona's lineup just dropped. We got Perdomo leading off. Oh, Ketel Marte's back. That's good. Perdomo, Marte, Carroll, Walker, love Walker today, Gurriel, Rivera, Fletcher, Moreno, and Thomas. Oh, is Alec Thomas? Is that the start of the reach around? I think that's Kirkwood. Kirkwood likes himself some Alec Thomas, apparently. We'll discuss stacks soon enough. Did get the Mariners, too, not too long ago. Crawford, J-Rod, France, Hernandez, Kelnick, Suarez, Big Dumper, Raleigh, Ford, and Caballero. Still waiting on some of their night lineups, right? No Mets, no Pirates, no Dodgers. We don't care about Toronto or the White Sox. All right, so just those 3 lineups. Several people in chat are talking about, you mentioned Eovaldi. It's an Eovaldi revenge game, sure. Weather's pretty good for hitting baseballs in Fenway today, for what it's worth. I think we have a 10 total. Did it change? Was it 10 before? Yeah, still a 10 total in that game. Texas slight favorite there. Eovaldi's kind of pricey. He's not as good as he was at the start of the season, kind of petered off a little bit, but theoretically he's a guy, like if he's right, he can go 7-8 innings, which is more than you say about most of these guys in this slate, but he is pretty expensive. How many laps you got to make until you get to Eovaldi?
I think if you're in a 20 max tournament, I think you could have him in a couple. I mean, we know he has got the ceiling to win you a tournament. I mean, it is possible. This slate is going to be so kind of like low on strikeouts, right? Like there's not a lot of like high strikeout guys on this slate. So I see no issue if you want to get, 10%, 15% Eovaldi or something like that. I have no issue with that.
And that's what the field is. The field's at 15% as far as Eovaldi. And that's kind of where I'm at too. I think maybe you line up number 6 or 7 or 8. Maybe I finally get there. Did get a refresh as far as ownership. Let's see, Bybee at 45, Bradish at 33, Kirby 23, Urias 18, Eovaldi 15. Kirby, this Houston lineup, it's rough, right? There's obviously no Yordan Alvarez. Altuve's been out the last several days. Now they just drew him on the IL. So there's 2 of their best hitters are not playing baseball for him today. Kirby is also one of those guys that if BABIP's going his way, he can go 7+ as well because he just doesn't walk anybody. What's his walk? His walk rate this season is like 2%, something goofy.
It's 2.2, I think.
Yeah, which is
it's ridiculous. His control is so good. It's just such a high premium for a guy that barely strikes out over 20% of guys, but I guess that's just what this slate is. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. I know the field doesn't seem to want to play him, but Luis Severino, the bat loves him. Okay, he's 6,900, so he's kind of priced for his struggles. Let's say, right? I don't think that opportunity cost at pitching is going to be that high on this slate. So I'm not going to sit here and say that I'd have him ranked as high as the bat does. The bat has him ranked as its SP3. I wouldn't go that far, but I think he's definitely worthy of consideration on this slate, just because I don't think there's going to be a lot of guys that go for 8, 9, 10 strikeouts. So if he gets you 4 or 5 strikeouts and pitches, a couple earned runs, 6,900, I'm fine with that if that allows me to get up to the Dodgers or the Rangers or the Diamondbacks. So, one of those, really, really high end teams.
You know how I said coming into the slate, I feel really, really good about one thing. I'm taking one stand, and then I'm, going to work around that, but it's going to be in basically every lineup I make today.
Yep.
The one stand I have today is I'm loading up on Baltimore. So there's no chance I'm playing Luis Severino.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
We're talking about a career low strikeout rate for Severino, 18%. Fly balls are too much. The walks are too high at 9.5%. if you look at it versus lefties, he's facing 7 lefties, right? I thought he was going to catch 8, but he's going to get 7. Westberg and Urias batting 8-9, but he's going to see a ton of lefties. His strikeout rate versus lefties this season is 14.1%. That's worse than Zach Greinke. That's worse than like name a pitcher. It's terrible. And the hard hit rate at 58.1%, and all these power lefties in Baltimore with that right field out there. Baltimore is my big stand of the day. And if Severino is nice at 6.9K, I'm in a lot of trouble because that means my Orioles did not quite get there. But I'm very excited to playing Baltimore in single entry stuff or 3 entry stuff where optimals are not really spitting them out. Maybe some Gunnar Henderson, right? Is that somebody's going to pop in there? And also like the Orioles, and we'll talk about stacks in enough, but they're so versatile because you have some expensive pieces on DK. Rushman's expensive on Fanduel. He's perfectly fine. But there's so much cheap stuff there too. You have Aaron Hicks. They keep booing Aaron Hicks, and he keeps doing things there. Once he left New York, he's turning a pretty solid player, small sample, yada, yada. I love the rookie. I'm forgetting his name now. It's CC is his initials. Colton Cowser. Colton Cowser, he's 2K on Fanduel. Fanduel had him at 2.5 yesterday. They lowered him to 2K. DK still has him at 2K. His debut yesterday was solid. I watched his at bats. It's only 1 at bat, 1 game, yada yada. He looked pretty good. Looked like he belonged, and showed some power in the minor leagues. 10 homers in the minors. I believe it was 7 stolen bases, almost a 20% walk rate. So he was controlling at bats. He struck out a fair bit too. But Cowser at 2K, you have so much versatility. Even if you don't want to fully stack Baltimore, if you want to pay up for the Dodgers, right? You can get Hicks, Cowser, and O'Hearn, 3 really, really cheap Baltimore bats, and they're great as like the secondary stack. So I like their versatility today, and that's the way I'm running my lineups offensively. Everything's working around Baltimore, so I really hope you're Severino to take his bat.
I love the conviction, Dean. I love the conviction, and the Sims tool, they have Baltimore as the 3rd best stack, so you're right in line with the top stacks tool. And so I like it. I still kind of stand by what I said. I think if I was making 150, I would play both sides of this game. I mean, not a lot of Severino, probably not a lot of Baltimore either. I'm not as high on them as you are, but definitely I'm certainly not disagreeing with you. For me, Severino he seems pretty cheap. So I think that he could, on a slate where you're not giving up a lot of pitching. So I think that he could conceivably have a good start. But I appreciate your conviction.
If you covered up the name, if you just cover up the name Severino, it says pitcher X. And like this guy's giving up 2.25 homers per 9. His Sierra's over 5. The ERA is over 6. The K is at 18%. The walk rate almost 10%. And again, it's only 40 innings, right? But he's 29, but it feels like an old 29. He's always he's just put a lot of wear and tear on that arm. Several injuries. I'm not here to say it's it for Severino. Maybe he'll resurrect himself soon enough and all that kind of stuff. But I just don't think he's ever going to be what he once flashed. That's my general thought. And I think he's still kind of sort of somewhat living on his name. But I hear what you're saying too. I totally hear what you're saying. And I hope the field is on Severino. I love that Cardi. I respect Cardi. I respect the bat, but I love that the bat is kind of sort of somewhat pushing out Severino. He's the 3rd most popular guy in the bat. Is that what you said?
He's the 3rd highest raw point projected pitcher.
Oh man,
not the 3rd highest owned. I think he's projected to be the 5th highest owned according to the bat.
Let's see. I see Tony in chat saying that wraparound from yesterday won a tournament. What did you win, Tony? Or somebody else won a tournament with a wraparound? I'm just catching the middle of a conversation. I apologize. But if y'all wanted something, that's pretty awesome. Congratulations. Mr. Donk says that I missed the Urias talk. Yeah, so Julio Urias, good pitcher, came back from injury, and he was bad. He was pretty terrible in 3 innings. He threw a lot of pitches. He's also working his way back as far as pitch count. What are we expecting? I'm guessing around 80-ish.
The bat has him for 81. We have him for 84. So let's call it 82, 83.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No. Yeah. Was that enough? I mean, it wouldn't be if it was like a 10-game slate and there's a bunch of good pitchers, but relative to who he's got to beat, I think he theoretically could beat some of these guys just because Our highest, our median projection is Spidey for 18 points, and Kirby at 16, 17, Evaldi at 16. We're giving Urias 15 points projection-wise as a median projection, like you said, 84 pitches. But there is a world where he's the top pitcher on this slate, but like there's probably also a ceiling where he's not going to strike out 12, but nobody's striking out 12. So, you don't have to be faster than the Bear. You just got to be faster than everybody else running away from the Bear. Is that how that goes? But yeah, give me the sales pitch for Urias because I think he's like 5th or 6th for me. And I don't know if I'm getting there in the few lineups I make.
Yeah, so both our lineup HU projections have him as the 4th highest raw point pitcher, and the bat also has him as the 4th highest raw point pitcher. So they're both projection systems are pretty much in line with what they think he's gonna do today. The only thing I'd say is, this doesn't normally move the needle for me, but he does get an extreme hitters ump. And so when you're already kind of working your way back up and you're not going to have a very, very high pitch count, you're going to need to get some of those calls. And if he's not going to be getting those calls, that's bad. You know what I mean? Like, and so I get what you're saying. Like, he could absolutely outscore a lot of these guys. I've got like no huge problem with him, but I think that does matter with a guy who's got a limited pitch count. So he's going to need to get all those calls on the black today.
Yeah, you said extreme hitters umpire. You mean like an easy hitters umpire? Is that what you're saying by that? You didn't watch yesterday's.
No.
It was a callback to yesterday's show. For those that watched it, Chop was convinced, or he was trying to tell the people that, in the lineup HQ, it says EH, right? EH next to the umpires. And he thinks that means easy hitters umpire. So maybe it does. I don't. Maybe we're both wrong.
Was he being serious, or was he just being chopped?
He was being chopped. So he was just being chopped.
All right.
Yeah. Several easy hitter umpires today, for what it's worth. We got it for Jordan Lyles, and Tanner Bybee also has an extreme hitters and easy hitters umpire. So and I'm guessing that's not going to push you off him. Theoretically,
but you get what I'm saying, though. Like, if a guy's gonna be throwing 80 pitches, like it matters. I mean, I think it matters always, but I would think that it would matter even more if you're going to be on a limited pitch count. So that, you never want to have an extreme hitters umpire when you're rostering a pitcher, but I think it matters even more when you're on a limited pitch count. So I mean, I get it. It's the Pirates. They're not that great, but I'd rather pitch Kirby, Bybee, obviously, Bradish, obviously. I might even say that I'd rather pitch Evaldi, to be honest with you.
I think so too. I'm looking at their rankings now, and I did this earlier, and then I rehashed them. Let's see what I have as far as our rankings, because I'm pretty sure I'm right in line with what you just said. Myself, Napster Man, the Luch, Keith Eister, we did our rankings. We ranked 6 starting pitchers today. I have it. Yeah, I had Bybee 1, Bradish 2, Kirby 3. I did have Urias 4 and Evaldi 5, and then Blanco 6. But 4, 5, 6 can be shuffled any possible way. To be honest, I don't have a lot of conviction amongst those 3, and that is our consensus rankings. And should we even acknowledge? Should we mention Carlos Carrasco? Ryan Nelson's cheap, and he's throwing baseballs, and he's facing producers teams, Mets. Did I miss anybody else pitching wise as far as Cutter Crawford? I think he's got a little bit of talent, Cutter Crawford. I don't know if I really want to pick on Texas. That's the one team I'm most afraid of not having enough of. So I feel like all the Baltimore I'm going to have is going to push me off some Texas, which is a little bit concerning.
I think Texas is the tops. Well, I think it's a kind of a 1A, 1B with me with Texas and Arizona. Texas, I think Texas might be my favorite stack. It's either them or Arizona.
You don't have the Dodgers number 1, or you're thinking like different salary stuff, or you just have straight up nothing to do with salary, nothing to do with ownership, gamesmanship, none of that nonsense. You think it's Texas and Arizona?
Texas is definitely gonna be right up there. Yeah, Dodgers are always great, but they're super expensive. So unless I want to, sacrifice, some I don't know, somewhere. Like I don't want to play like Peralta or Hayward, like it's like so like Betts is 6,500, Freeman 63, Smith 57, Muncy 51, JD 55. Like they're very, very expensive. So it's like I kind of want to attack Carrasco more. And I also love the hitting weather in Boston. So I'm kind of like, I think the Dodgers kind of fall to like 3, but it's a shaky 3. It's really the Rangers, Arizona, and the Dodgers. But Carrasco's just been so bad, and it's to both sides of the plate. He's lost his control. Like I really love Arizona today. I really like the over in that game also. For what it's worth, I'm not like a big sports betting savant or anything, but
you wrote it up on Scores and Odds, didn't you? I feel like I saw you.
I did.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I really like the over in this game. So
I like it too. I think that's a good call. It's 10 or 9.5. What's the number?
10.
Yeah. Just both sides of it. And Carrasco, he's another guy, by the way, still kind of sort of somewhat living off his name. Like he was once really, really good, Carrasco. I feel like he threatened for a Cy Young at least on Cleveland. Is that true?
Carrasco used to be like a real, like an amazing pitcher, but he's kind of like Adam Wainwright. I think he's just toast.
That's
like
insulting, but you might be right.
I don't think I'm wrong though. I don't think that's like that hot of a take. So
it's a good take.
Oh yeah, producer Steve, how do you feel about Carlos Carrasco? You're getting the worst of it as far as his career for your Mets. He's been terrible.
Not the biggest fan. His last few starts have been all right though.
All right, fair enough.
Earlier in the season, man, he was a mess.
On the season, his ERA is pushing 6. His SIERA is above 5. He's giving up more than 2 homers per 9, and that's despite pitching in a cavernous ballpark for half his games. The K's haven't been there, 16.3%, like you said, Tim. The walks, 10.8% walks. If he's got a skill, it's the ground balls, 46.8% ground balls. So there you go. He's at least keeping the ball on the ground sometimes, but when he's not doing that, he's walking you. He's giving up hard hits. His hard hit percentage 46.2%. I believe that's the highest in the slate. That's too high. Yeah, I like Arizona as well.
The other thing, real quick, Dean, is on FanDuel. Arizona just seems really, really cheap to me. So like they're very, very easy to stack. It's incredibly easy to get a 4-man stack of Arizona on FanDuel. They're a great play either way, but I think they're even a better play on FanDuel because they're just so easy to get.
Corbel's not Corbel. I was combining Corbin and Carroll when I made him Corbel. Carroll is not cheap, but he's worth it, right? The power and the speed combination's awesome. Marte's now up to 3.6K. Remember, he was like 2.5, 2.6 beginning of the year, not too long ago. He's crept up. Walker has crept up a little bit, but he's one, like you're pointing to. 3-1 on FanDuel seems pretty egregious. First base, a lot of reasonable options there at first. You got Freddie, you have Polar Bear, Alonso. You have Lowe as well. I think O'Hearn's an interesting cheapie. Bell also for Cleveland, just kind of as a salary saver, I don't mind. But Walker at 3-1 against Carrasco seems pretty egregious.
I love Walker to hit a home run. I don't know what his odds are, but I hope if they're like 4 plus 400 or better, I would take it.
Well, these are things we can do. Let's check and see. You like 4-1 odds for homers?
Yeah, if it's over that, I would do it.
I don't think you're going to get 4-1 personally.
I don't think so either. But
you know what? It's plus 470 on FanDuel, and it's interesting if you go to our Scores and Odds tool. It's 3-1 on Caesars. So like the FanDuel price, obviously if you're playing, get it at FanDuel at plus 470, and we also have like projected like the chances of somebody to homer, and we're saying the real odds are plus 335. So the difference you're getting 135 points. So it's a sharp bet according to our Scores and Odds tool.
I feel so sharp now, Dean. I didn't even mean to do that.
You knew you were sharp when you woke up this morning. What are you talking about?
I did not feel very sharp this morning. I had a lot of 4th of July festivities, Dean.
I heard about the burgers. I had questions.
I've damaged my body pretty aggressively in the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 days.
We have time. Can we talk about this?
I was really hungry. There was a lot of burgers happening. I may have had some adult beverages also. And
sure.
Next thing you know, I was 6 burgers deep before 4 p.m. You know?
Now, are we talking about like Crystal Burgers or White Castle burgers, like sliders, or like legit,
no,
like grilling out burgers with buns,
legit burgers with buns?
Now, did you have 2 and say, okay, I'm going to go for 2 more? Did you just sort of get every time you walk by, you grab 1? Is it 3 at a time?
It was more of a 2-2-2 thing.
That was the stack. It was a 2-2-2 burger stack.
Yeah. Well, I had 2, and then I was like, oh, I'll have 1 more. But then I grabbed 2, and then I was like, no, I'm done. But then I kept drinking beers, and I was like, I might as well eat some more burgers. And then
sure.
Yeah. So
how do you dress your burger?
I really like barbecue sauce.
Okay.
But if I don't do that, then I really like relish. I love relishes and I love mustards. But if ketchup is all there is, that's fine too. But they're all good.
Now, can you mix it up? Can you throw a little ketchup in there with barbecue as well and some relish, or you got to commit to one and that's that?
Relish and mustard are okay. You can mix those two.
Okay, those 2 are compatible.
Yeah.
Okay. What adult beverage was it? Well, not Moxie. That's not an adult beverage, right? That's just a crazy beverage. Like an IPA guy. What are you drinking there in Maine? I feel like you're getting something like IPA-ish for some reason.
No, I don't mind IPAs. I actually really like pale ales. Those are my favorite kind of beers.
Isn't that an IPA?
No. IPA is got like a spice. A pale.
What does the P and the A stand for in IPA? Am I?
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's an Indian or India Pale Ale is an IPA, right? But an IPA is like a spicier type beer. A pale ale is more of a flatter taste.
Okay, I'm not a beer savant, but I thought IPA stood for India Pale Ale, and like you like the IPA.
Like an IPA is usually darker, like a darker tan, and a pale ale is usually like a flat yellow type color.
The people want to know: are there cheese or no cheese?
Oh, definitely cheese.
Are you okay? You're a little distracted. You looking at the fan and hoping wishing it was on. What are you staring at?
What do you mean?
I saw you looking to the side like several times, and I'm like,
no. Well, I keep getting alerts on my phone. Aaron Hicks was scratched, by the way.
Oh no! There goes my Baltimore stack.
Dean, I'm always working. You know, you want to talk about burgers, and I'm worried about lineups.
Did the crowd shame him? Is he depressed? Did they boot him so much pregame? And he's like, you know what? Screw this. I'm not going to play baseball today. That's a bummer. I like it. He's a pretty solid cheapie actually, but I'm curious who's available. Do we have an official update as far as the lineup or not just yet?
I have not seen one.
I guess that means Cowser. Got to move Cowser up to the 6 hole. We'll see. All right. There's still plenty of cheapies in the Baltimore side, and whoever gets replaced with is probably cheap as well. But I did kind of I liked Hicks in some of my lineups, so kind of a bummer. All right. Did we give summary as far as pitcher? We didn't do that. We kind of jumped over and started talking about stacks. This is just we talk about the slate wherever it takes us, wherever the show takes us, wherever the chat takes us. That's where we go. We're here for the next half hour until we yield to crunch time. I believe y'all get Andre and TJ's words. TJ always, almost definitely is going to bring Spidey, which means Spidey bombs, which means you got that like button. Do hit that like button. Do subscribe. Turn on those notifications. You know what? I bet you TJ's out there lurking and he's stealing your Christian Walker pick. He probably already stole it. He's going to repackage it as if it was his own. And he's going to say, hey,
that's because I don't have a cool gimmick to go with it, you know? So you can just repackage it easily and just be like, oh, it's my Spidey bomb.
Gimmicks can be fun, and that's we know your rules as far as
so it's gonna be Adam Frazier instead of Aaron Hicks.
Another lefty. I like it. All those lefties. Load them up. So Naked HD in chat saying, I said this yesterday, Dean never works. I don't remember him saying this yesterday. This is what I'm doing right now. We're working right now, no? I guess I don't get credit for this. I'm hosting the show. That's something. No. Don Easy says Tatis is probably the Spidey bomb. Well, I don't think it can't be, right? Unless Tatis is not playing baseball tonight, unless he's playing on a different slate, like at 6 o'clock or so. I'm not really sure.
He's not on any of the main slates.
Yeah. But Derek is giving you tasteful taters. That's pretty good. You want to use that for your homer picks?
Yeah, that's pretty decent. It's pretty decent.
You a tater tot guy?
I do like tater tots.
You shouldn't say it like I just busted you. It's okay to admit.
I don't really want people to know that about me, but it's true.
You shouldn't feel like great shame, I don't think. But there you go. All right. I'm assuming, I don't know if Derek's going to sell out the rights or if there's going to be any sort of pen and paper and transactions, and if you need a letterhead or anything like that. But I think you can just take that. Tasteful taters. That should be all yours. But there you go. Hey, give me the summary as far as pitchers. I know we kind of bounced back and forth, but somebody just jumped into the show 5 minutes ago and they're like, well, what's going on? What are they talking about? I need the TLDR. Give me the pitchers. Not a lot to pick from, but I'm sure you got a summary for the people.
So Bobby and Bradish are your cash game pitchers on DK. I think that you could go George Kirby as a GPP option. Eovaldi's fine too. I like Severino. Dean hates him, so whatever.
Yeah.
Dean is very high in Baltimore. I don't necessarily disagree with Dean, but I think Severino is cheap enough that you can take shots on him. Really, though, I would not fool around with this bottom group of guys like Nelson, Crawford, Carrasco, Oviedo, Lyles. I honestly, if I was making 150 lineups, I think I would X all those guys out and just make a combination of maybe these top 6 guys, and then with a heavy emphasis on Bobby and Bradish, and then kind of spread some other combinations out. That's about it. Pitching is ugly. Pitching is very, very ugly.
Okay, updated Baltimore lineup. We did get Frazier. Frazier's jumping in the 8 spot, so Cowser does indeed move up. It's Henderson, Rushman, Santander, or Hearn, Mullins, Cowser, Westberg, Frazier, and Urias. All right, we are still waiting for just the Pirates, the Mets, and the Dodgers. Probably not going to get Sawinski today, left on left for the Pirates. I was looking at his stats. I know he's been good, but I was shocked at how good he's been this year. That he's been one of the best hitters in all baseball versus righties. Dude's been smashing. They're probably going to get Connor Joe today to draw the starts, and that'll muck that up. But just throwing that out there. No Pirates lineup just yet, but probably don't get Sawinski. Okay. Stacks. We've already kind of touched on stacks as well. We have time for the stack game. We have time for whatever's on chat's mind. I'm scrolling back up. Bobby's saying it's unfair that I attack Chop when he's not here. Just my opinion. I wasn't attacking Chop. I was just saying what he said. That's not an attack. Is the court reporter attacking people? No, they're just telling you what was said in the courtroom. That's all. I was just repeating what Chop said. If you want to interpret it as an attack.
I agree with Bobby, but that's...
It sounded like an attack. I was just saying what Chop said. I don't know how that was can be presented as an attack, but that's fair enough. To be fair, you weren't there, so you're hearing second and third information. So maybe your opinion isn't that relevant in this particular case, unless of course you agree with me. Then your opinion would instantly get credibility. Maybe, not sure. All right. Tim is the Joey Chestnut of Maine. There you go. That was the sharpest bet, by the way. Betting once they had the long delay, betting the under. On that, I think he was like at least 20 or 15 dogs under. People were talking about that on Twitter. I didn't have access to bet that, but the line was like 72.5, 73.5, and he only had like 50-ish, I think, 57, 58. Not really sure. But do you watch that nonsense? It's the hyperbole, the tongue-in-cheek announcers always make me laugh.
I did not watch it. I don't watch it. I already know he's gonna win, so it's just like I don't know. I never got into it. I'm busy eating my own food, Dean. Okay, I don't need to watch somebody else eat.
You can multitask though. You can do it while you can watch them eat and eat yourself. That you can
True.
do, that's not something you can handle. I feel like you can do both at the same time if called upon. The announcer was talking about how Chestnut has now won like 17 the yellow mustard belt like 17 times in a row, and he's like, yeah, Bill Russell only 11. What a bum! It's like I love how he's comparing the two things. Like Bill Russell's rings, playing the entire season, the playoffs.
They had him on the floor. They had him on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange doing an interview, and I was just like, "Come on, like really? Like this? He's like really that big of a deal?"
What a life, man!
I know. I don't know.
It was I think it's like 17 years or something like that. And the guy they just when they give the resume, they compare him to like Babe Ruth and Michael Jordan, like the greatest athletes in particular sports, LeBron James. It's just so amusing. And but the guy kind of caught himself. He's like, well, maybe I shouldn't have dunked on Bill Russell too hard there, because clearly he knows Bill Russell was a better athlete. All right, we shall move on. Now I'm just catching up. People talking about different beers. Chat, by all means, feel free to chime in on this slate. What's on your mind? If you're thinking of a 2v2, you can't decide, you're playing cash games, let us know. You're playing tournaments. Tim, you're playing cash, right? I assume you're playing cash on DK, Fanduel as well, or just DK?
Just DK, but I'd be happy to answer Fanduel cash questions if people have them.
Mr. Donk says I was touting Tommy Malone yesterday. That is just not true. There's no way. I was shocked he was in the league. I couldn't believe he still existed. When the world ends, it's just going to be cockroaches, Twinkies, and Tommy Malone. That's the only thing he's going to be pitching against nobody. He'll be available though. I'm not really sure what's going on in chat. There's all sorts of goofy things going on. No, is Chestnut an athlete, by the way? Is that fair to call him an athlete or not necessarily?
I don't know. Well, so I've actually thought about things like this before, because it's like, I played poker for quite a few years, and it's like, is poker a sport? Are these guys athletes? They're like, to me, they're not athletes, but it is a sport, right? That's my opinion. Like, I don't know. Like same thing. I follow a lot of pool. Like they're just walking around a pool table, right?
Minnesota Fats.
They're not really doing anything cardio, right? But they have to train. So
it's a competition.
Right.
Is it a sport? My understanding is like in the chess world, it's important to be like in really good health. Are you aware of this?
But I think it's important to be in really good health no matter what you're doing, to train your body no matter what, So I don't know.
You ever see Kingpin before? It's an old movie with Bill Murray.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's a scene where Randy Quaid's character walks in, and like there's like this big bowling festival, whatever, this big bowling tournament, and he walks in, and like everybody's about to bowl. He's like, "Wow, I cannot believe I'm in the same room with all these incredible athletes and like all these out of shape bowlers." And it's a funny. That's what it reminded me of for some reason, because at least according to Randy Quaid's character, he believes that bowlers are athletes. They're in competition. It's competition. I don't think golf is a sport necessarily. You're playing against the course.
What are you now? Oh my
You're playing
goodness.
against the course. You're not playing against other players. They're doing their own thing, and then you can figure it out afterwards if you want. But it's you versus the course.
It's still a sport though, Dean, and you're still an athlete.
It's an activity.
No, it's fine if you don't want to think like poker is a sport or whatever, but golf is definitely a sport, and you definitely have to be an athlete.
All right. Big Ernie McCracken. Shout out to Ernie McCracken in the chat. Nicely done there. We got to get Bobby Combs a wrench. Why does Bobby not have a wrench?
I don't have a wrench. I don't have a wrench.
Are you not wrench worthy?
Apparently not. I've been with RG longer than Bobby has, and I don't have one. So.
Well, I mean, we can make this happen. At least I feel like we can make this happen. I don't want to speak on behalf, but I think wait, Bobby has a wrench now that all of a sudden just popped up. He's got it immediately. That was quickly amended. So
Tim, drop a message in YouTube chat.
There you go. Look at this, producer Steve working hard for you.
I've only been here for, I think this is my 4th year, so I don't know. I don't know if I'm worthy.
4th year, you get a wrench. Yeah.
All right.
Let's see some real questions popping up in chat regarding this slate. Again, just a 6-gamer. We got 20 minutes until The Crunch Time crew comes in. You got TJ, Zwarych, and Spidey. You have Chief Mineralogist Kevin Roth. Roth feels a lot better about that Cleveland game. It's a straight yellow now as far as the weather, so we're acting as if that's good to go. And you have Andre joining the conversation, taking y'all straight up the lock, answering your questions. We want to answer as many questions before we step aside and make way for them. Let's see. Okay, so Ashman's got a question. Favorite DK cash bats? Is there 3 or 4 cash bats like that for sure? These guys are going to be in your cash lineup.
Favorite DK cash bats?
Yeah.
Is that was the question?
Yeah.
All right. I haven't started making my team yet. I think it's kind of tough. So assuming you're going to go Bradish and Bybee, I think you should go Corbin Carroll, Josh Naylor. I'm gonna see. Bo Naylor as your punt catcher. I think he's.
You like the Naylor stack?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think Bo Naylor. I think Corbin Carroll. Definitely. I think.
Do you like having that much Cleveland in cash? Like they don't really.
Well,
I
was just thinking that exact same thing, Dean. I was like, maybe not go Josh Naylor, but I think I maybe want Jose Ramirez. But
that's what I was thinking.
But then it's tough because then you have Carroll and Jose Ramirez. You got 2 guys that are 6K, so it's like it kind of depends on. And then there's Volpe, right? Who's batting leadoff, but it's against Bradish. But I think he's like a really strong play because it fills that middle infield spot that can be kind of hard to fill, right? Because like I want to pay up at the outfield, I want to punt catcher, so I think you could play Volpe in cash. I think you could play Perdomo in cash as well if you have the money at 4K. So I think two I'd say is Jose Ramirez and Bo Naylor, and I'll search around and see if I can find 2 more that will definitely be in my cash game lineup.
So I was kind of messing around. Bybee and Bradish, J-Ram and Carroll. If you put those 4 in, you have 3, 6 and change, right? Per hitter, you have 6 spots left remaining. Now I noticed you didn't say one guy I wanted you to say. One guy I'm going to play a fair bit of it, and I'm on a big Baltimore today. I'm pushing the Baltimore agenda. But you don't think Cowser at 2K, just to kind of make everything else work for you, is not somebody you're looking at?
Yeah, you could do that. I don't think that's a bad play.
You said you want to spin up in the outfield is the tricky part, right? I assume you want to spin up on Carroll. Betts, maybe if you have the money. But if you have one or the other, Carroll or Betts, it sounds like you prefer Carroll over Betts.
I do like Carroll over Betts. But, I mean, that's like really splitting hairs. I just prefer Arizona tonight.
Yeah, I'm trying to think other Arizona pieces. Like Ketel Marte is just really expensive. 5.9 is probably not something you're going to get to in cash. Perdomo's fine at 4K, but it's not like he's okay. He's leading off. We'll give him that. Rivera's 3K. He's also a threat of getting the hook, right? Isn't Longoria a guy that might step in there for Rivera if a lefty comes on? Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I would assume he's got some pretty decent pitch hit risk.
Generally, you're not going to roster a 9-hole hitter at home. So like Thomas, I know they're talking about the reach around, the wraparound stack. I don't think he's a cash game player at 2.5. How about Moreno? Moreno versus Naylor. Do you think that's clear for you? Because I think it's kind of a coin toss personally.
It is kind of a coin toss, but I think if we're talking strictly cash, I'd rather go Naylor. But the thing is, I really like Arizona tonight. So if I'm looking to, throw my cash team into a single entry contest, maybe I prefer to stack Arizona because I do prefer the Arizona stack over Cleveland.
One TJ Zwarych has a question in chats. He's got a 2v2. Doesn't sound like he's stacking. I'm not really sure what he's doing. It's just a weird. It's 2v2. He's got Will Smith and Perdomo versus Yainar Diaz and Ketel Marte. that's 4 players. He's probably got an Arizona stack working. I imagine he's got Perdomo.
I would
and
imagine
Marte.
it's the first one, right?
Uh,
What was it again?
Will Smith and Perdomo versus Yainer Diaz and Ketel Marte. It's probably not a Houston stack. It's probably like a Diaz like one-off, I'm guessing. And he's got an Arizona stack working. I assume
like
that's what's going on there.
I like the first one.
Yeah, we're not certain that Will Smith's in the lineup, but I assume he's going to be, right? They're talking about the Pirates lineup. Has that been dropped? If it has, I've not seen it. Let's see if it's jumped out for us. No Pirates just yet. But, we can kind of sort of guess what's going to be coming out there. Mr. Richard, I'm interested in Seattle for DK MME. I have 45 lineups. Thoughts? How much Seattle stacks would you make?
So you have 45 lineups, and you're interested in Seattle. I have absolutely no issue with that.
But how many? Would you make 5 Mariners stacks? 2, 10?
Well, let me look up Seattle's stack ownership.
It's not really Blanco's good. He's mostly fully stretched, right? It's not a bullpen game. He can go 4 or 5, 6 innings.
Yeah. We have Seattle as our number 2 optimal stack on the slate. So our simulations love Seattle tonight, and I don't think they're going to come in with a lot of ownership. So, 45 teams maybe make 10.
Yeah, as a general thought, I like picking on reverse splits pitchers in Houston that are right-handed with the Crawford boxes down the left field line, and that's what Blanco is. 50% fly balls this year in 40 innings. He's given up 2.25 homers per 9. So the righty power is pretty interesting. J-Ram for sure. The tricky thing is Big Dumper, Kyle Raleigh seems interesting, but he's going to hit the left-hand side. Doesn't mean he can't homer. Anyway, but it's one of those things where I wish you just don't see it. These guys rarely do you see it. I think it was who was it? The Flying Hawaiian. What was that guy's name for Boston? I can't remember his name. It's not coming for some reason.
Will
played for
Smith
Philadelphia as well.
Will Smith is not in the lineup.
Oh, well, there you go.
Barnes is in the 9 hole.
Huh. Outman's still in the 8 hole. We can't get Outman any higher than the 8 spot. What does this guy have to do? Betts, Freeman, Muncy, JD, Martinez, Peralta, Hayward, Vargas, Outman, and Barnes. Were you prioritizing Will Smith? I think that's going to get more like Rushman on DK if you're spending up. I think that's going to happen.
If you're spending up, but I think that's going to draw more people to punt. To be honest with you, to go like Bo Naylor or Marino or something like that. But yes, if you're paying up, then yeah, it's Rushman for sure. But I have a feeling the field is going to be like, okay, forget it. I'm just going to punt.
Stan Breezy says, Tim, come on. Moreno is much greater than, I don't know why I'm saying much, but it's the greater than simple than Naylor. TTID forever. Is the Cleveland game more than likely going to play? Yes. Last we saw, it's yellow. It's been upgraded. So, and Roth will be on in 10 minutes, so I'll tell you all about it, 10, 15 minutes, and I'll let you guys know all the way up to the bell. But good call yesterday. I don't know if you were watching yesterday, if you played last night, but the White Sox game, what Jerry Reinsdorf is a greedy dirtbag, the owner for the White Sox, and they were talking about it. Cards was talking about how they're going to make people sit around, buy some adult beverages, get some hot dogs, get 6 hamburgers, and then cancel the game. And that's what they did. They knew all along the game wasn't going to play. That clip I believe is on the social media on the interwebs. Feel free to check that out. The OMG father says, "Do the Volpe graphic, Steve." What is the Volpe graphic? I mean, I know who Volpe. Oh, I know what it is. Yeah, you know what the Volpe graphic is? Spider-Man. That's Spider-Man.
That wasn't it.
There's another one coming.
Who's that Pokemon? It's Volpe.
I don't know anything about Pokemon, but apparently there's a Pokemon that sounds like Volpe or is named Volpe. And then Roth one day said his name like that. And then there you go. Producer Steve put that together. Does that make you want to play Volpe any more, any less, or about the same?
I'd say about the same. I think he's more of a cash game play. I'm not really that high on the Yankees, but he is cheap betting leadoff. So, strictly for cash, I think he's okay. But I'm not really that high on the Yankees.
That's where I'm at too. If he was in the 9 hole, which you've seen him for a while, but a little bit of power there, a little bit of speed, and he's leading off, and that's good enough for me. But I'm not like forcing it, like you said. Big Hurt in chat. Fanduel single entry favorite pitcher, favorite stack. You're making a single entry lineup on Fanduel. Who's your favorite single entry pitcher? Who's your favorite single entry stack?
All right, so even in single entry, I'm not going to goof around. I'm going to go with Bibee, and then I think it's Arizona, and I like Seattle quite a bit too, just because I don't think they're going to get that much ownership, but I think they're in a really great spot.
The OMG Father said, this is the only show I watched yesterday besides Crunch Time, and I 30x'd. Well, there you go. Congratulations. Nicely done. We're still trying to get some likes up, so when TJ jumps in here in 10 minutes or so, he can just fire off his Spidey bombs. Again, I don't know if he was watching before, but I feel like he might plagiarize that Christian Walker. At this point, we're just forcing him to change it. If he wants to change it, I suppose he can stick to his guns. But yeah, Walker at plus 470 on FanDuel feels like a really, really solid price. Shane Victorino, thank you, John Hansa. That's a guy I couldn't think of. He's a guy that was like a switch hitter that would sometimes go left on left or right on right, depending on. Maybe he just like stopped hitting from one side. That might have happened too. But I could be remembering that wrong. But I was trying to think, like, you ever think about that, like switch hitters when they're facing a reverse splits pitcher? Why not, like, if you can hit from both sides?
They used to do that against knuckleballers. That's what people used to do all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Why knuckleballers?
I don't know. I don't know the science behind it, but I know that people would do that. People would do that against knuckleballers.
Interesting. Yeah. We haven't had one in the league for a while.
I only know that because I'm from New England and I used to watch Tim Wakefield all the time. So
of course,
I know that switch hitters used to just go to the right side against them quite a bit.
Since Wakefield and Robert Allen Dickey, R.A. Dickey, we haven't had many knuckleballers. There was Stephen Wright, of course. He Boston comedian, Stephen Wright. But you in the Stephen Wright, the comedian, just because you feel like there's some good comedy in Boston. Stephen Wright. You got what's his name? The guy from he was on Breaking Bad, the redhead. Why can't I think of his name? Bill Burr, another Boston guy. Big Boston fan. He played Fenway actually not too long ago. You care for this? Is comedy fun?
No, you got mad at me because I didn't know who Gallagher was, and then I got so many people that gave me crap about that. Like buddies of mine that watch the show sometimes, they're like, "How do you not know who that was?" So I looked him up. I've never seen him before. Even after looking him up, I was like, never seen that guy.
Yeah, and I wasn't endorsing what he did for a living necessarily. He's just kind of a fascinating character, just like somebody a pop culture person.
I believe you said he was the greatest prop comic of all time. So you were endorsing him, Dean. That's an endorsement.
So I'm saying he's better than Jeff Dunham and Carrot Top is what I'm saying.
I don't know. I don't know prop comics apparently, but I'm just saying you did endorse it.
Jeff Dunham's a prop comic. Is he the guy with the? God, what's the guy? I can't remember the guy's name. Now, Jeff Dunham, I think, does all our stuff. We're getting derailed. We need your homer pick because producer Steve apparently has put something together. He's made a graphic on the fly. Is it Christian Walker? You want to go off the board with somebody else?
Christian Walker is my own run pick.
Okay, well, let's see if producer Steve has something for the people. You were there it is. Tasteful taters. Oh, I love it. Yeah, I thought he was gonna throw like a burger in the corner just for fun, but there you go. You got
no, that would have been good.
He's doing it on the fly. What do you want from the guy? He's working. Some of us aren't working, but he definitely is working. Producer Steve working hard. 5 minutes until crunch time comes in. What have we missed? Did you give your answer as far as Jeff Dunham is the guy that does the puppets. There you go. We did nail that. And Carrot Top has been incredibly successful in I believe the Luxor in Vegas, if I'm not mistaken. He's had a long stay there. Did you ever give your favorite stack on FanDuel, or did we get derailed in that conversation? I know he asked you. Maybe I didn't answer.
Arizona, Seattle. Assuming that's kind of like a larger field single entry. I really like Arizona, Seattle.
Is watermelon smashing a sport? Is a great question. Nice callback, John. I don't think it's a sport. I don't think it's a sport. Watermelon smashing. I'm not sure. You ever see those lumberjacks that like climb a tree by like smashing into it? They put a board in, they stand on the board, they start smashing again. Those guys, those are athletes. Whatever they're doing is athletic.
We have a competition for that like 10 minutes from my house. It was on ESPN.
What? Did you go?
The Great Lumberjack Show. Yeah, it used to be on ESPN all the time.
Did you? This is on the Ocho or this is on ESPN? This wasn't on ESPN. This is on the Ocho. ESPN 2?
No, I'm pretty well. It was either on ESPN or ESPN 2. Like I think it was. I don't remember what it's called, but yeah, they used to have it on TV quite a bit.
Chuck says it's called axing and smashing, axing and cutting, not smashing. It's probably called something. What is it officially called? Do you know the name? Mm-mm. Is it called axing and cutting? Those guys are impressive.
I don't know. I don't know what.
And how about the log rolling? Is that seems like a Venn diagram? If you're going to have axe smashing, you better have some log rolling going on.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah, those guys are super, super impressive. Kirkwood wants to know if you have frosted tips. Why does he think you have frosted tips? Do you have frosted tips in your hair?
I do not. No.
What a question.
Definitely. I know. I have actually kind of, I don't know Kirkwood at all, but I'm actually kind of insulted by that question.
Well, maybe he thinks you got a little Guy Fieri in you. That's all right. That's not insulting.
I definitely do not have frosted tips. I live in the woods of Maine, Kirkwood, and we don't do that kind of stuff here.
What do you have against diners and drive-ins? Sam I Am wants to know, I switched J-Ram and Stephen Kwan for Devers and Duran.
I think it's okay.
That's fine, right? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I assume that means you're probably playing more than two Boston guys. Maybe you're off Cleveland in total. Not for sure, but as the thought process, as far as stacks, do you prefer the Cleveland stack or the Boston stack just in general?
I mean, what I don't really like about Cleveland is that I think they're going to come with high ownership. And I understand that Lyles is complete trash. I get that part. Cleveland just isn't a team that I want to play in like GPPs when they're going to be highly owned. Like they're okay. Like I'm going to play maybe a couple in cash games, but like a full stack makes me a little bit nervous. Boston, on the other hand, I'm not really in love with either though, because I think Eovaldi's okay enough to keep his stack in check. So I don't know. I'm a little bit neutral, I guess, on both those stacks. I love J-Ram though. That's the thing. Like that's always a guy that I love getting to, whether it be a one-off or it's just part of a skinny Cleveland stack.
He is going to be one of the more popular players in the slate, and Cleveland, just as a team, as a general team concept, they just don't homer, which is,
which is why I don't like. That's why I don't like them. It's like they're going to be popular and they don't hit home runs.
We have a J-Ram at 24%, and that's for the large field, right? 24% large field. That's not for cash. Obviously, cash, you don't care about ownership. You're just rostering the best possible team. But like for single entry stuff, 3-entry max stuff, J-Ram's going to be, I don't know, 35, 40%. Is that outrageous to say? Like he might be that high, right?
You think he's going to be that high?
We got him at 24% in the large field, right? People are just throwing darts and everything. Well, let's look at this since we have time. Third base in general, right? The third base position. I'm looking at DK for what it's worth. Gunnar Henderson's going to get a fair bit of ownership, but part of that's going to come at shortstop. We got 22% of Gunnar Henderson. Really, really strong play. I think he's a good cash game play. On FanDuel, he's 3K, which is an awesome, awesome price. 4.7 on DK. Okay. Don't like it as much. But besides that, right, J-Ram, Henderson, Young is good, but I think it's more of a stack thing for Texas. 5K feels like a bit of a premium. Eugenio Suarez, there's some ready power.
I was just going to say, what a great pivot Suarez would be in large field GPPs. $3,200 on DK. That's a really good tournament play. But yeah, I guess you're right. J-Ram's going to be super popular. I was kind of thinking Muncy might eat up more ownership, but we have him pretty low owned, really low.
I'm surprised we have Muncy at just at 6%, but
See,
I think people are going to prioritize.
I thought he'd be. I thought Muncy'd be a lot higher, but I guess not.
I think he will be. I think he'll be higher than 6 at least. Eric wants to know DK Cash. It's a 2v2. We have. Oh, my phone is ringing in my ear. Let's see. 2v2. DK Cash, O'Hearn, and Duran versus CC and Alonso. CC would be the rookie for Baltimore. Cowser.
Yeah.
So Cowser and the Polar Bear Alonso or O'Hearn and Duran. I like the second pairing personally. What say you?
Yeah, I think the second one's better.
But like, I don't think Alonso is somebody you're seeking out in cash. But if you land on him,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be upset about it. Is that where
Right.
you're at too?
Yeah, that's kind of what that's why I kind of hesitated because I like Walker more, but he's $200 more than Alonso. So that's kind of like where I'm hesitant because I'd rather find the $200 for Walker.
Well, like Christian saying, "Am I crazy or is Duran not even in the lineup?"
He's thinking of the Duran for Boston, and you're talking about the Duran for the Rangers. So
Ezekiel Duran.
That's the confusion.
There is 2 Durans. Yes, that's good to get that clarity. Couple more questions before we step aside and make way for crunch time. You got Roth in the bullpen. You have wait, you know what? We have Dre. We have Roth. We have TJ. Yeah, they're here. They're showing themselves, so we might as well say hello, Roth.
I don't know if Dre knew that he was about to get on, just like absolutely tearing it up. I don't think he was ready for that.
I really wasn't ready for that.
He was feeling it though. He had the eyes closed and everything. He was getting it, man.
What are we listening to?
Young Thug.
Tim, what's your favorite Young Thug song? I know there's a lot to choose from. You're registering, you're Rolodexing.
I'm just trying to Google. I'm trying to use the Google machine as fast as I can.
You got nothing?
I got nothing.
Fair enough. I think Roth has one. Roth, it sounded like he was right there.
You know, as I am a big hip hop fan, I just don't really know a lot of Young Thugga, as the kids call him. So I don't know any of the songs.
All right, well, there you go.
Free YSL.
TJ, Ofer, are we going to go Ofer, or can you save us?
Probably the London, but I'm more of a fan of him in features.
Oh, well, sure. Well, in features, that's a...
He kills features, so I respect that, TJ.
What's up, Hunter? I
Ice
think we have
action. Come on.
What do we talk about on our show that's like a carryover conversation, Tim, that we can ask these guys about? It's a fun little like, hey, we know each other. We can talk for 30 seconds before we just say, hey, here's the FanDuel sponsor crunch time.
You guys nailed it that one of the Spidey bombs was going to be Christian Walker, but of course the Tasteful Taters took it out first, and so Christian Walker is a bonus Spidey bomb because I'm on the same page as the Tasteful Taters today. And then we did reach 100 likes, and so I dropped the second Spidey bomb in chat as well. It was Andrew McCutcheon, who you can currently find for plus 560 on FanDuel. We got even better, a better home run projection on him on Scores and Odds too than we do on Walker. So both of those are incredibly juicy. And keep hitting the like button because we got the next one at 150.
Colton Cowser is going to hit his first career homer today for Baltimore. Baltimore hits 3 or 4 at least, and they're the top scoring team on this slate. Tim, see that bold call and raise it before we yield to crunch time.
Oh, that was pretty bold, Dean.
Yeah, well, I'm feeling ambitious.
I'm gonna say the Mariners are the top scoring stack on the slate.
Okay, fair
I'm
enough.
going to raise you guys at the start of the show. The Yankees will be the highest scoring team on the slate.
No,
I'm going to raise all you guys. I'm going to raise all you guys. Ryan Nelson is going to have 6 strikeouts today.
Ryan Nelson is in my single entry today, Dre. Let's get it.
Oh boy, somewhere producer Steve is trembling. He does not like hearing that, but he's probably also shaking his head and saying, "Yeah, you guys are probably right." Tim, before we go, did you want to thank me for this interaction?
Yeah, thanks, Dean. I enjoyed it.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you for bringing it. Had a good time. Thanks chat as well. Kindly hit that like button. Do subscribe. Turn on those notifications. Unless you got anything else, Tim, we're going to step aside and make way for the Fanduel sponsor Crunch Time. You got Dre, you have TJ, you have Kevin Roth. Roth, take it away.
Good stuff as always from the GrindersLive crew, but welcome to it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the moment and the show you've been waiting for. This is Crunch Time. It is sponsored by FanDuel. We're going to take you all the way up to lock. We're going to talk some bats. We're going to talk some pitchers. We're going to make some home run calls, some Spidey bombs, some tasteful taters, and we're going to answer your questions as well. So make sure you stick around. That way we can answer your individual one-on-one questions. Get them on in, and we will take care of that. We do have to start, though, with a little weather update. I am, after all, a meteorologist. It's going to rain in Cleveland, and I am pretty sure they're about to say we're going to late start this game. I feel very strongly they're going to late start the game, and then they're going to play the game. And I do not think it's very likely that there is a delay after the late start. So, anytime we're talking about storms and weather, something could go wrong. And, I'm not the one making the decision, but I think it is a pretty clear late start and play without an in-game delay. You like that, TJ? You like that?
I like it. Let's do it. Let's the top pitcher on the slate is in Cleveland. So we're feeling good about that.
Woo. Okay. I didn't realize it was that high pressure. Now I'm gonna check the latest really quickly here. Give me one more second.
So not only is Tanner Mlb tonight the highest projected scoring pitcher, but he's only 8.7K on DraftKings. Like, he's probably cash game and top tournament play on both sides.
Googly moogly. All right. Well, I mean, the bottom line is my forecast stands. I think they're going to late start. I think they're going to play. I think it's possible they get a delay, but I think it's unlikely. So I say you stick with your, what was it? BB? Was his name BB?
Yeah, BB.
I think you stick with BB. If anything changes, if I see like another storm upstream of the one that's about to cause a late start, then I'll say something. I do have one quick question here. Brian says, I love that you come here for the weather. Also, 95% sure that if given two names, you couldn't answer if it's a baseball player or politician. Facts. I don't know anything about baseball other than what I learned from these guys. But yes, I'm here for the weather. And I'm here because I like hanging out with them.
Dean says it's Bybee.
Oh, okay. Bybee.
It's not as fun.
Bybee. I'm sticking with BB. Okay, let's talk about this slate in general. TJ, do you want to give me a little overview here of what we're dealing with?
Yeah, this is one of the ugliest pitching slates that we have seen in quite a while. And so on FanDuel, our wonderful sponsor FanDuel, there's 6 guys that I think would probably stay in my pool if I was running 150 max type build today. So Tanner, Bybee, BB, Bibby, Boppity Boo, whatever you want to call him. He's the top projected pitcher today, and he's going to be the highest owned on both sites. On FanDuel, we're probably going to be looking at about 30%-ish. On DraftKings, we're probably going to be looking at closer to 50%. And so a lot of people are getting to this guy today, but he's like by far the top option. George Kirby would be maybe the other guy, and Nathan Eovaldi would be the third one that would be, from just a talent perspective, the other people that we'd be looking at. But Kirby's going up against Houston and he's priced up. Eovaldi's going up against Boston and he's priced up. Whereas Bybee tonight has the Kansas City Royals, who just aren't on anywhere close to the same tier as those guys. So he's the top pitcher, followed by Kyle Bradish. Bradish is the guy of the two that I don't feel as great about. Like, if I'm eating the chalk on one of them, now Bybee's going to be much higher owned than Bradish, but if I'm eating the chalk on one of them, it's going to be Bybee and trying to get a little bit different elsewhere. The 6 pitchers in my pool, I think, on FanDuel would be Kirby, Eovaldi, Bybee, Bradish, Ryan Nelson, who I'll let Dre talk a little bit more about, but I also really like for tournaments today. And then Luis Severino, who I don't like him. I want to play Baltimore, but he's just projecting so well in the bat that I would be willing to take shots if I were running a bunch more lineups today. I am actually only playing 1 on DraftKings today, though.
Okay, good stuff. Let's kick it over to Dre here. Dre, I want your tournament thoughts. Starting with pitcher, and I want what you're thinking on FanDuel and DK, please.
Okay, well, I'm playing mostly on DraftKings, but FanDuel FanDuel, it's going to be probably hard to get away from Tanner Bybee. He's 9-2 over there. George Kirby is a good option going against, since he does have a high strikeout rate against the righties here, and he got I think it's 8 righties in the lineup for Houston with 1 lefty. So that's kind of fine. So I like Kirby a lot, but I still think Bybee is probably the better option because he's cheaper. Better pit, has more strikeout. I think probably has a better strikeout upside and probably gets a little bit of a weaker lineup compared to Houston, because Houston, obviously, they're not the same as they were last year, but they can still go off and be good. So those are honestly the 2 options that I probably would go with in tournaments. I'm not deviating from there. I would just rather try to get different with my stacks on FanDuel. For DraftKings, those 2 are the top pitchers. Kirby and Bybee, to me, are the top pitchers you have to think about going with today. Kyle Bradish is obviously someone that's going to be very popular too at 7-2 going against New York here in the spot. But the weather, I think, is not bad in New York today. It has a little bit of plus leverage with home runs and total runs today. So makes me a little bit off. Makes me want to get a little bit different with not going with much Bradish, but also because the Mets have not I don't know. I just feel like the Mets, they're a good team. Good team on paper, but they've been all over the place this year. Sorry, Steve, but it's the truth.
He knows it.
And I feel like this could be a game where the Mets are either going to have a really big game and be one of the top, to me, scoring teams on the slate, or this could be just a horrible game where they just strike out a lot. Okay. So I'm taking the chances that they're going to just strike out a good amount here and that's why I'm going to roll with Ryan Nelson, since everyone's going to be on DK going with the more popular. I'll go with the Ronaldo Blanco against Seattle here, because obviously Seattle has the history this year of having a little bit more higher strikeout rate overall when it comes to averages compared to the Mets. So I think playing Nelson will get you a little bit sneakier in tournaments, and he costs $800 less than Nelson. I mean, $800 less than Blanco, and he can give you probably just as much upside, I feel like, on the slate. So I'll take my shot with him and see how it goes. You can play Eovaldi, I think, but I don't. But the bat doesn't like him a lot from what I'm looking at here. I kind of do, but then I don't, because I really do like Boston and do like Texas. Eovaldi rarely gets like blown up like that. So that's the thing that makes me kind of want to play him still. So I would be okay with that option as well. And Severino against Baltimore, I'm still trying to. The jury's out with me on him right now. I'm trying to think if I want to keep my player pool or not. Right now he is, but his matchup against the lefties here is horrible. 14% strikeout rate with a 0.216 ISO, giving him a lot of fly balls as well. As far as at 32.3%. So I'm kind of thinking of fading him a little bit just because of that risk. Baltimore has a lot of lefties in their lineup today that do have a lot of power, and they can hit a lot of home runs. So Severino would be probably the lowest guy I would go on. I definitely, especially at that price point of 6.9, I'd rather just go to Nelson, all the way down to Nelson there, or use Blanco instead.
Okay. It's not somebody I'd play if I'm only running a few lineups, but if I was playing 150, I think, or even just like a 20 entry max, something like that, with how gross the pitching on this slate is, I think there's crazier things you could even do than take a shot on Cutter Crawford. We don't really ever want pitchers against Texas, but 5 lefties in the lineup, and he's got a 30% strikeout rate to lefties this year. So the upside is there if he gets a little lucky with Babbitt, and the rest of this slate just kind of sucks anyways. He does have some big GPP upside just based on that strikeout rate to lefties.
Okay. Very good. Guys, I want to talk some stacks and talk some bats. But before I do, we mentioned this show is sponsored by FanDuel. Sign up for the FanDuel Sportsbook. If you're in a legal sports betting state, take advantage of their awesome bonus offer. New customers can bet $20 and get $200 in bonus bets. Great stuff by our sponsor, FanDuel. Terms and conditions apply. Make sure you are taking advantage of that. Let's talk about some of the stacks here. And Dre, I actually want you to lead off. Are you on the Yankees? Was it you that said?
No, that was
TJ. Okay. Dre, who are you stacking up today?
I like the Texas Boston game as a whole. First thing to do is obviously look at weather at. So to me, that was a game that stood out to me, especially with Cutter Crawford here pitching. So I like Texas a lot. Don't mind taking some shots at Boston tier 2. I get worried about Cleveland because Cleveland obviously they have their moments where they have good games. So they're probably ranked, I would say, 4th for me. I like Arizona a lot. They're probably, I would say, they're going to be probably my third highest owned stack. Baltimore's probably going to be 4th, and 5th is going to be Cleveland, and that'd be my top 5.
Okay, very nice. I want to go back to something you said, which I thought was the most important part, which was the first thing you do is look at Weather Edge. I approve of that, and if you are not familiar with Weather Edge, it's a tool that takes the weather in a certain game that's coming up, like in Boston. It's 83 degrees, dew point of 71, winds blowing out to left at 8. And it pulls every similar weather game since the year 2000 and shows what has happened to the stats in that game, in those games. We have a 164 game sample size in Boston of similar weather games. Home runs have increased about 16%. Total runs in those games have increased about 12% compared to your standard games, compared to everything else. So
I don't know if this is a hot take, but I'm going to go ahead and say it's a mistake to look at Weather Edge first, because I always got to look at the weather report first and then look at Weather Edge second, because
I think that's the move.
I got to know if there's a game I want to avoid completely, things like that first, just see if there's any risk. And then I'm going to take over, look at Weather Edge.
I approve of that technique and that general game plan.
I was going for that meme that's like, you had us in the first half, not going to lie.
Yeah.
That's what I was going for with that.
You had me there. Brandon says, Roth, would you be concerned about an early delay in Cleveland if they don't late start? I really would be, but I had to look this up. The pitcher that we like is for Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
So I assume he's a decent pitcher. I don't think Cleveland wants to lose their good pitcher, right? Like they have the advantage in this pitcher matchup. Is that accurate, TJ? Yeah. I don't see any reason why Cleveland would take that risk. Like they know what's coming. They're not idiots. They don't want to lose their pitcher in the first inning. So I think they're going to late start. Right? I just think that's what they're going to do. We still have about 30 minutes. The rain should just be moving in about 30 minutes from now. So I just think they're going to late start. And I bet they announced the late start within 10 minutes for now.
Yeah. This isn't something you'd have to go too deep into because we'll know by then, but just it might be worth revisiting if that late start doesn't come, of just would you pivot off of him if we don't get it?
Yeah. Honestly, I think the delay might even be quick enough that I would just stick with it and early enough. But we'll see. I don't think we're gonna have to get that. I don't think we're gonna have to figure that out. I hope. Okay, let's talk about some of the stacks here, TJ. We got Dre's takes. Give me some of your top stacks, and make sure you're hitting that thumbs up. This is free content, damn it, by some of the sharpest minds in the biz and the greatest sports meteorologist in the universe. I'm also the only one. So make sure you're hitting that thumbs up for us. We would appreciate it.
I might be more impressive.
That's true. The only sports meteorologist in the universe. TJ, what are you doing here as far as stacks? And when do we get some Spidey bombs?
We are currently 2 likes away from our next one. The first 2 were Christian Walker and Andrew McCutchen. When we hit 100 likes, we just hit 150. So it's time for Spidey bomb number 3. A couple people have talked today. I think Dean was one of them about liking a Baltimore stack today. Dre, I think, was liking them as well. And we got the leadoff guy who's got some power, plus 460 on FanDuel. Gunnar Henderson is Spidey bomb number 3. But like you said, Roth, we got over 500 people watching, 520 right now. Should be easy to get 200. Less than half of the people just sliding their finger over, hitting like. Click if they're watching on their phone, clicking the hide chat button and hitting the like. Should be super easy to get that up to at least 200. So let's bump that up so we can get a couple more Spidey bombs in here. In terms of stacks today, Arizona is definitely my favorite. They're going to be my top on the board by a pretty large margin. Sorry, Steve. And then from there, I kind of have a tier 2 that all fits in a bucket. And it's Baltimore, it's Texas, Seattle, as well as the Dodgers today. I mentioned liking the Yankees in tournaments, and that's more of a mini stack for me than it is a full stack. I really just like the cheap prices of some of these guys in good order spots today really interests me. Billy McKinney's got some pinch hit risk, but he's a 2K flat, and he's been hitting the ball like crazy lately. Josh Donaldson's been on a tear lately, hitting fifth. Same with Bader batting cleanup. Volpe finally is getting a big lineup bump today, going from like 6th to 8th, like he's been, all the way up to leadoff. And so he's somebody I'm interested in there too. So they're more of like a price play, fill in some spots so I can get my expensive Arizona players, get expensive Dodgers, expensive Rangers. And they make secondary stacks work really, really well with those teams. So that's one of the reasons I really like New York today from a tournament perspective.
Gotcha. Okay. Makes a lot of sense. I think it's time to go around the horn, do a little position by position talk, and then maybe we'll get some Dre home run picks here after that. So let's start it off.
Yeah, I'll give one of my home run. Since if we're going to stick with the Arizona game, I like Corbin Carroll.
There you go. All right. Add him to the list here. Let's talk about position by position. And TJ, you can start us off with a little catcher talk, please.
All right. So the catcher position today, I mean, there's the guys like the Will Smiths and the Adley Rutschmans you can play in your FanDuel stacks, absolutely. But it's not such a strong position today that I feel like you really got to go to too many guys on FanDuel outside of the stack. On DraftKings, if I'm paying all the way up, sorry, Will Smith's not even in the lineup, so I was still thinking about him from before. So ignore that. Adley Rutschman is the kind of one pay up guy I'd be most interested in. If you're paying all the way down, I would rank them kind of Gabriel Moreno as my favorite punt, followed by Bo Naylor as second. Somebody like a Cal Raleigh in the mid tier, I think, is somewhat interesting. And it's like it'd be very contrarian to go to Sal Perez in this spot as well, going up against Bybee. So I think that's a somewhat interesting tournament play if you want to fade Bybee. And then Yainer Diaz at 3-7 is kind of okay as the last piece one off, I think, too.
Okay, good. Dre, your thoughts of catcher?
Catcher is going to be mainly used for like my only in stacks position, which is the tool we have here on RotoGrinders. Great tool that we added a couple of years ago. I do like if you go with some of the Texas guys, Jonah Heim is someone I like. Then you could go with Cal Riley, Francisco Alvarez. If you're on Nelson, you go with him as well. If you still want to take some shots against Bybee today, Salvador Perez, he's probably a guy you can use as a one-off too. I don't mind that today. Adley Rutschman is one of my favorites here as well too to go with. And then I do like Connor Wong in the stack as well.
Okay, excellent. How about first?
Gabriel Moreno, sorry.
Okay, you're good. How about first base, Dre?
First base. So first base, this is, I don't know why this guy always stands out to me, but Mike Ford, I don't know why he's a long shot for me to hit a home run. Like if you bet him by yourself. Don't do no plus. Don't do like in a parlay or anything. But Mike Ford, I think, is a nice little only in stack play for Seattle when you're running against Polanco. I like him. I like Daniel Vogelbach as a one-off. Rizzo also as a one-off here against Bradish. Carlos Santana against Urias is another guy like Nathaniel Lowe. Someone I do like as well. And Christian Walker, as you mentioned before, who was TJ's home run play, is another good play.
Okay, great. TJ, your thoughts at first?
Yeah, Christian Walker is going to be my top play here by a fairly wide margin. I think Freeman, Naylor, Alonso, all these guys are fine, but Christian Walker is definitely going to be my number one priority. If I need to go kind of mid-tier cheaper, I do like Ryan O'Hearn quite a bit. And then as a full-out punt, I don't hate the Vogelbach or Mike Ford calls either.
All right, how about second base, TJ?
Second base today, it's the two Arizona guys topping the list for me. So Ketel Marte and Geraldo Perdomo. Perdomo is a guy that you can play at shortstop as well. So I think you're kind of probably playing Marte over at the second and then Perdomo at short if you want to play both of them. But Marte is going to be my favorite guy at the position today. Mookie Betts keeps bouncing back and forth on DraftKings between second base and shortstop eligibility. It's literally just different every day. It's second base today. And on FanDuel, it's always both. But I really like Mookie Betts if you can spend all the way up there. Andres Jimenez batting fifth today, going up against Jordan Lyles. Great play as well.
Okay. TJ, Dre, your thoughts?
We're on second base, right?
I think so. Yeah, Dre.
Okay, perfect. All right, so Marcus Simeon, someone I do like a lot. Cattell Martinez, you mentioned before. Gleyber Torres, Geraldo Permedomo is someone I do like a lot. And the rest are going to be probably, I'm going to use like in stacks, like Jordan Westbrook. I'm going to use him as an in stack play. DJ LeMahieu in stacks only. And Marcio Dubon is someone else I do like today as well.
All right, how about third base, Dre?
Third base here. Everyone's going to be on Jose Ramirez. I am probably going to be underweight on him, but he's a good play against Lyles. I like Devers a lot. I like Josh Jung. Max Muncy is a one-off. Gunnar Henderson. And I also do like taking some shots on I do like Emmanuel Rivera too, one against Carrasco.
Very good. Somebody asked what the Spidey bombs are, and yeah, as TJ mentioned, they're right there at the bottom of the screen. Scrolling now. Christian Walker, Kutch Dog, and my guy Gunnar Henderson, top three. You give us like what 50 more likes, and we get another Spidey bomb, TJ.
17 away. That's all we need. Is 17 to get up to 200. So keep hitting that like button. I got a fifth prepared. If we can get up to 250, and with almost 550 people watching, that should be no problem. So keep smashing that like button. And we got home run picks on home run picks on home run picks coming. All guys that I got parlays on tonight.
Very good. All right. What are your thoughts at third, TJ?
Third base today, I agree. Jose Ramirez is going to be the most popular, and I kind of want to be underweight as well because on both sides, there's just the guys that are a little bit cheaper than him that I like just as much today. And so Jose Ramirez is a great play. He's the cash game play on FanDuel for sure, and then on DraftKings if you can get up to him. But I do like quite a few other options here as well. Devers is a great play today. I'm not interested in stacking against the Eovaldi, but I think Devers is a great one-off. Josh Jung is fine. Max Muncy is in a strong spot. Of course, Gunnar Henderson, who is the Spidey bomb. He's my favorite guy at this position today. But even going all the way down as a not quite punt, but a cheap play in Josh Donaldson, I really like Donaldson today. And so, like, if you if you want to go with him, that's fine. If you want to go with you're not playing Bibee in a tournament lineup, you want a one-off Michael Garcia leading off, that's all good. Same with Eugenio Suarez. Like, there are these guys in the 3K range on DraftKings and even the 2K range on FanDuel that you can go to these guys and it's fine.
Okay. That takes us to shortstop, TJ.
Yeah, short today. So on FanDuel, Seager and Betts are like really strong spend up options if you can get up there. Gunnar Henderson also has shortstop eligibility. I really like him. Geraldo Perdomo, same thing. Both shorts and second on DraftKings, but he's just short on FanDuel. Probably my favorite play there at 2.7 batting leadoff on FanDuel. I also really like, I mentioned this a bit earlier, but I love Volpe on both sites as a one-off or a part of a mini stack. He's been hitting the ball really well lately, and now he's batting leadoff. Kyle Bradish isn't bad, but he's not somebody we'd be worried about at all if this was a very big slate. And it's just that people are playing him tonight. That's why we're not really looking to go to the Yankees because the pitching is so bad. So I think Volpe makes for a great shortstop one-off today.
Okay, very good. That brings us to Dre. Your thoughts at short.
Before you go, Dre, we're 2 legs away from 200, and Anthony Volpe was, in fact, going to be the next Spidey bomb. So keep hitting that like button, get us up over 200. We can get to 250. I got another Spidey bomb for you, but Anthony Volpe, batting leadoff, plus 630 on FanDuel is Spidey bomb number 4 for us. Let's go for a fiver. We haven't done that in months.
A little 5-piece chicken nugget. I'm down with that. All right, Dre, what are your thoughts at short here?
I like that. I'm actually putting them all together right now. I got that including my one that I gave out earlier. I like Corey Seager at shortstop, obviously, a lot today. I like JP Crawford in stacks, only to use Kiki Hernandez. I like him in stacks against Eovaldi. Pena as well. Ahmad Rosario is going to be obviously a fine guy to go with against Lyles. I like him only in stacks. Bobby Witt is a guy I would use today as a one-off against Bibee today as well. And obviously Francisco Lindor is going to be someone that's going to be played a lot. I don't mind. Obviously, I don't mind the play, but I'm just on Nelson a little bit more than Lindor today.
Okay, very good. Getting a few people just on Twitter and such asking, hey, what's the deal in Cleveland? I still think they're just going to late start and then they're going to play. And I think it's likely that when they play, it is uninterrupted beyond that. We're starting to get to the point where we're like 20 minutes from first pitch. So I'm waiting for that late start announcement because I do not want them starting on time without it. An early delay looks pretty likely if they do that. So we'll monitor that and see what's happening. In the meantime, let's run it into the outfield. Dre, you get first go at it.
My home run call, Corbin Carroll. Love him today. My favorite outfielder to go with. Then I like Adolis Garcia. I do like Cedric Mullins. Masi Yoshida. I'm just gonna say his last name, Yoshida. To try to pronounce his first name, can't do it. Masataka Yoshida. I like him today. And going against Eovaldi. Teoscar Hernandez is someone I do like as well. These Red Sox, there's a lot of guys in there that have some power, like Adam Duvall here too. I like a lot you can go with. So him, I mentioned him. Verdugo's a good hitter, and Yoshida went along with Devers because a good type of kind of mini 4-man stack that you could go with as well. And I also want to go down a little bit more. I don't mind taking some shots on James Outman today, but only in the stack with the Dodgers.
Gotcha. All right, very good. TJ, what are your thoughts in the old outfield here? And we got to add another Spidey bomb to that list. We got to get Volpe added to that scroll down there.
Yes, got to add Volpe to the scroll, and only 4 likes away from the next 40.
We're doing it.
40.
Oh, you got me excited.
My bad.
I'm about to say.
My bad. That's on me.
I thought it was happening. I thought
That's
the 5-piece was happening.
I'll take that out. That's on me. Corbin Carroll is undoubtedly the top option on the slate. He's the pay-up priority of the day. I think Adolis Garcia would be the number 2 outfielder I'd be looking to prioritize today in terms of spend-ups. J-Rod, Betts, Tucker, and JD Martinez, all strong plays today in the outfield, but they do fall behind Carroll and Adolis Garcia on my priority list. In the 3K mid-tier range, I saw some people asking about Tommy Pham. I know Steve put that up on the screen. We've been bashing the Mets all day. Tommy Pham is a great cash game play today. He's batting second. Tommy Pham does make for a great cash game play. First, I think if he's going to be, and same with a guy like Teoscar Hernandez in the mid 3-5 range. I'm kind of with Dre though. In tournaments, I'd rather go to a guy like James Outman, or even for me, Harrison Bader. Since I'm not playing Bradish, those are the guys in the 3K range that I'm looking to kind of get off of the chalky Tommy Phams and Teoscar Hernandez with. So I'd go to those guys in cash and then pivot to the Outmans, the Peralta Haywards, the Baders in tournaments today. Realistically, the Dodgers are kind of looking like they're going to be a great low-owned stack today because not many people we're not projecting many people to go to them at all. And they have one of the highest totals on the board. So it kind of seems like the Dodgers are going overlooked in tournaments. We're still waiting to see a Pittsburgh. We're still waiting to see a Pittsburgh lineup, but assuming Andrew McCutchen is leading off, or even if he's just in a normal 1-4 spot, he's one of my favorites on the board as well. Of course, he's a Spidey bum. One of the reasons is I just love his odds today, but low owned, probably batting leadoff, 4,200 on DraftKings, not very restrictive to get to him on FanDuel either. He's only 3-1, so he's going to be one of my favorites there in the outfield. And if I need to pay all the way down, I need to full out punt, I'm looking at Arizona guys. So I mentioned Billy McKinney at a full 2K. I think he's fine. But outside of that, I do like these Arizona guys. So like a Dominic Fletcher or a Alec Thomas.
Okay, very good. We've got a little more than 15 minutes here until lock. We've done some home run picks. Dre, is there any that you wanted to add here? You gave one or two. Any other names that stand out to you?
I'm gonna go with the one I said earlier because I'm gonna go with the people that are that are on the slate because I have one that's off the slate that I do like from the Toronto game. I like so where's his name? Where's it? Eloy Jimenez. I like him from the Toronto game, and I'm gonna go like I said, Mike Ford. I'm gonna mention him. I'm gonna go with him as like a long stretch to hit a home run today. I like him a lot.
Okay.
He's
All right, very good.
He's got plus 470 on FanDuel, so it ain't that crazy.
Okay, excellent. Let's take some QQs here. See what we've got here. Dre, I'm going to start with you from Dan Jan. Do you like a Houston stack on DK? They're pretty cheap.
I do not mind them. Not in my top 5. They're probably like just outside number 6.
Okay, very good. TJ, I'm coming to you for this one. It is Nate Lowe or Lau. I never know which one it is. That dude and J-Rod or Walker and Jung.
Walker and Jung.
Very good. DK Cash. TJ, right back to you. Betts Henderson or Marte Muncy?
Betts Henderson or Marte Muncy? It's tough. Henderson.
Okay. Let's see. I'm just increasingly like, what are we doing in Cleveland? Like, what do we?
Yeah, they haven't said nothing, and that's kind of making me nervous now.
Yeah, like I really expected at this point. I mean, the rain's it's gonna rain. Like it's very, very likely going to rain. There's a downpour like headed right towards them. I still stand by the forecast in case people are joining late. I still think they're probably still going to late start in the next 15 minutes. I still think they will play the game, and I still think that after a late start, it is unlikely that they have a delay. If we get to like near first pitch time and there's people warming up and there's no tarp on the field, then I'd be a little bit more concerned about pitchers. And if anybody's watching, if anybody's watching and can see, like, is there a tarp on the field? Do they look like they're going to play? Let me know if you've got any inside info there in Cleveland. Let's get back to some.
Pull up a stream on my laptop right now too to see if I can get anything.
Yeah, go for it. Hoosiers Hang Banner says listening to the Cleveland radio right now, so that should help. Hopefully, we'll get some insight there. That would be nice. We'll get back to some QQs.
Usually pretty reliable too, talking about anything other than trades between the Raptors and Pacers.
Was that a dig at someone?
Yeah, at Hoosiers Hang Banners.
Oh,
great in chat, but they're from Indiana and they're always trying to steal OG Anunoby away from me.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Here we go. WTAM just said that the 7:10 p.m. start will be delayed due to impending weather.
Okay, perfect.
Sorry, that's the happy dance. And to be clear, I haven't seen that from them. That's just a news station saying that. So maybe that's just their thought that it will be delayed. But the game just should be a late start. Like, we'll look for official word here. Hey, here we go. Guardians say we will be starting in a delay. There you go. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
That helps.
Late start official in CLE. Okay, so to go back over what that means, the late start in Cleveland is what we expected, and it's good news. I still think they're going to play. It's not going to last all night. And while there still is a chance of an in-game delay beyond that, I think it's a low chance, and I think you stick with pitchers in that game. ZY says, "Nice, Roth. I owe you a Pacifico," and I will take you up on that offer as well. You know it. Okay, so people are saying, "Is Bibby safe?" Like, I hate that word "safe," but I good enough, safe enough is what I would say. But it's never safe. Okay, back to the QQs. Now that is all out of the way, we've got FanDuel Cash and Dre. I'm coming to you. Julio Rodriguez and Gunnar, or Adalis and JP Crawford?
Oh gosh, the first one.
Okay. FanDuel Cash and GPP. Dre, right back to you here. Betts Gurriel with an Arizona stack or Seager Bader?
Or Seager Bader. See, I'm not a big fan of Bader. So the first one.
It's got to be the first one too, because in Arizona staff that'll fill it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to tweet and trying to do all kinds of stuff. All right, Perdomo or Volpe FanDuel Cash, TJ?
Perdomo.
Okay. Favorite low-owned stack that's not the Dodgers on DK, TJ?
Yankees or Yeah, I'll go Yankees or Seattle.
I like Houston.
Okay. There's a 3v3 here. Main stack 5-3 this is a Texas Baltimore. So Dre, he's stacking Texas Baltimore. Which 3v3 do you like in a DK single entry GPP? Urias, Seager, Tavares, or Jung, Henderson, Hicks?
Hicks is not in the lineup anymore for Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he
So
got
it's gonna-
scratched. So the other
Yeah,
one.
he got scratched. So it's gonna be the first one.
There you go. Very good answer. All right. DK Cash, TJ Betts Henderson, or Marte Muncy says the stream skipped right when TJ was answering that.
Betts Henderson.
Very good. FanDuel, TJ, since pitching isn't all that, do you mind punting with Blanco and playing all the bats that you like? TJ, Seattle does strike out a lot.
Yeah, I like doing that with Ryan Nelson better than Blanco. But I do think it's a reasonable tournament strategy today to do that.
Okay.
It's
Chinatown.
it's one of those days that it's possible that like no pitcher may have more than 15.
Mm-hmm.
Chinatown says this no late start in Cleveland seems on. There is a late start in Cleveland, so I guess maybe he means that the team didn't announce it. I don't know. There is a late start in Cleveland. My wife is home. My dog's about to lose his mind, but we will push through here. A few more QQs. Royal Priest says Dre, Eugenio and Jared mini Seattle stack.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. All right. Betts or Garcia one-off in a DKGPP, Dre? Betts or Garcia?
I'm checking right now the ownership. Dang, they both are pretty much about the same. I'm going to say Mookie, because I think Mookie's going to come in lower owned than Adalis.
Okay. TJ, I got two for you. Achilles says, DK, I'm punting in cash, Cowers or McKinney?
I would go McKinney.
Okay. Beaner says, Bibby or Bradish in FanDuel GPP?
Bibby.
Okay. Let's see what else we got here. We still have like 9. We still have kind of a long time until lock here. I'm like rushing, but we don't need to. Let's see what else we got from Eric. DK Cash question. Dre, I'm giving this to you. O'Hearn and Nimmo or Lau and Pham?
O'Hearn and Nimmo or who?
It's either Lau or Low. I never know which freaking one because they all spell their name the same.
Low.
And Pham.
And Pham.
Yep. Low and Pham.
So either way, it's a Mets guy.
Oh,
I'm not on the
we're
Mets
out.
like that. I don't know. Tease, you got to answer that
It's the
question.
first one. Nimmo's been actually smashing lately, and I like O'Hearn quite a bit better, so I would go the O'Hearn Nimmo.
Okay, very good. Feature says DK single entry. Dre, this one's for you. My guy Spidey with a 3-man O's stack or Bradish with a 3-man Arizona stack.
Arizona all day. So go with
Very
Bradish.
nice. Okay. All right. Dre, your favorite stack to win it all? Like, let's say single entry.
That's tough. Because I'm probably gonna say Arizona, just
Yeah.
because Carlos Carrasco is not that great of a pitcher now.
Okay, that is a fair answer. Let's see what else we've got here. Okay, Joseph says Bibby and Gurriel. TJ, this is for you. Bibby and I think that's Gurriel or Bradish and Garcia.
Bibby and Gurriel.
Very nice. Right back to you, TJ. Garcia, Seager, or Carroll Freeman?
Carroll Freeman.
Good. Hey, make sure you're hitting the thumbs up, not just for Spidey bombs and whatnot, but for free content. The reason this show is free is because it's sponsored by FanDuel, and they want a lot of eyeballs. And if we're not getting a lot of eyeballs, the show's not going to be free anymore. So you can help that with the thumbs up and with the little subscribe button. We're trying to keep this show free for y'all. We like it free. We like this. Let's see what else we got. Jake says DK single entry. Dre, this is for you. I need an outfielder under 3K. I'm leaning Henry Davis or one of the cheaper Arizona guys.
Outfield under 3K. Give me 1 second. Can it be 3K exactly?
Yeah, well, probably.
Oh gosh, all these guys are like Only in stacks. It's a one-off, I'm assuming. The best one-off of here that I would use, it's either going to be Alec Thomas at 2.5 personally, or Jason Hayward at 3K exactly. I would go one of those two personally.
I like Henry Davis too. Just you got to make sure he's batting third. If he's not batting third, or like in that top 4, then I would definitely downgrade him.
Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Rukin Verde says, what a great name. Dre, you want Naylor Brothers and J Ram, or Bo Naylor, Devers, and Nate Lowe?
The second one.
All right. DK, TJ, back to you. Nelson and Seager, or Bybee and Crawford?
If that's cash, then it's definitely the Bybee one. But if it's tournament, I like the idea of doing the Nelson Seager.
Okay. K-Town's finest, which, by the way, what is K-Town? K-Town, let me know what town K-Town is, because whenever I see that name, I'm intrigued. It says Nelson is in the winning lineup on DK. TJ, do you agree?
Yep. It'll be mine.
I love it. All right.
That's
Steve,
the beauty of what I'm doing tonight. That's the beauty of what I'm doing tonight is, like, obviously it might not work, but Arizona is probably going to be somewhat chalky, and I'm doing a full Arizona stack, but it's with Nelson and some Yankee players, so I'm going to be
different.
Nice. We still have 5 long minutes until lock, and we've caught up on all the questions here. So go ahead, get those questions in. I will stall briefly, but if there's no questions, we're just going to call it. I'm going to go cuddle babies and eat dinner and do things like that.
This is how you know Nelson's going to smash today, because it's Steve going, I like the over in that game. Lots of runs for both teams. So that has me worried about my Arizona take, and that has me liking my Ryan Nelson take.
That's rude, TJ. That's terrible.
Everybody want to see me try to get my lineups in, because I got like 4 minutes and I don't have anything built right now.
Yeah,
I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand how you do that. It terrifies me. But good luck.
Me.
Yeah,
see what happens.
You always do it with 3 seconds left. Someone says, "Hey, what's going on with the Cleveland game?" So I will run it. I will go through it again. New people may be joining in. It's officially a late start, at least so that's what I've seen. The tarp is on the field. I think they're going to late start. I think they are going to play after that late start. And while I can't rule out a delay, something just unfortunate popping up and causing trouble, I don't think that's likely enough that you should fade pitchers. So I think in general, that game is fine for whatever you want to do. Not that it's safe, but I think the likely outcome is that game works out really well. Let's see what else we got here.
Oh, it's only Bradish to the first game that I would need.
Oh, you got time.
And Baltimore, though.
Oh, right, you don't have time. Yeah, you have 2 minutes, actually. Here we go. Terrence, TJ, there's a question for you. DK small slate outfielder, 5K and under.
That is Lourdes Gurriel Jr. for me.
Okay, that was quick. Remember,
I already saw it in YouTube. I was ready. Sorry.
Good. All right, that makes sense. Here we go. We got some questions in the RG Discord where the cool kids hang out. DK Cash, TJ, 3v3. Henderson, J-Ram, Moreno, or Marte, Devers, and Bo Nose Naylor.
Definitely first one.
Very good. Is Urias viable in a DKGPP, TJ?
No.
Oh, no. All right. That was a strong dissent from both. All right. Dan Jan, TJ, Houston or Yankee stack if you were playing Nelson Bybee.
Yeah, it's Yankees for me. Like, it feels weird, but I like that Bradish is going to be high owned, and I like that nobody's really getting to the Yankees today, and they got some good hitters in some really good spots today.
Okay. Poe DeGen Stoner says, thoughts and prayers for Roth if the game doesn't. Yeah, the DMs would be pretty sloppy on this one.
Me leading the charge. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm only playing one team today. It won't be me.
I don't know. I feel fairly confident that my forecast is going to work out in this one. Marky Mark, Urias or Bradish, TJ, who's preferred?
Bradish.
Mm-hmm. Seager or Betts is a one-off, TJ. Actually, Trey, I'm making you work. Seager or Betts is a one-off.
Seager.
Good.
Well, Betts, actually, you're right. Betts is the call. Oh, God, he got a minute left.
Okay, I will stop talking to Dre. Let him focus. TJ, FanDuel, I need a cheap outfielder, Fletcher or Cowser? FanDuel Cash.
Fletcher.
FanDuel Cash 2v2, TJ, Mookie Cowser or Garcia Perdomo?
Garcia Perdomo.
Okay. Beaner, FanDuel GPP 3v3, TJ, Betts, Jimenez, Nelson or Bybee, Santander, Cowser?
Second one.
Okay. MT Red Sox says, can you play a one-off from Boston against Eovaldi on the same line?
Yes. In the same lineup on the 16th slate, I don't love it, but yeah, I think you can.
We got
And
it.
it's not even 5:05. It's not even 7:05 yet. You did it.
Woo. Plenty of time to spare. And now it is. So not
Tears
plenty of
in his
time to
eyes.
spare.
He's got tears in his eyes.
You had seconds remaining there to get that done. Jimmy says, this dude is as bad as me with the late lineups. And I appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words, guys. Hopefully keep that energy even if the forecast doesn't work out. All right. Keep the positive comments no matter what. All right. Last question. We got two questions. Dre, finishing up a Texas stack and a DK GPP. You want Perdomo Jung or Simeon Donaldson?
Perdomo Jung or Simeon Donaldson? Perdomo Jung.
Okay. And then last question of the day here. Actually, that question got deleted. So I think we're done here. I think we can bounce on out of here. I got my family waiting for me. So for TJ, for Dre, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crushed.